What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network. Today, fellas, I want to get into a topic that a lot of you guys have had some personal experience with on one end or the other. Something called the Law of Propinquity. But you would know it better by its nickname, a work husband or a work wife. Somebody you work with or work alongside who, over time, a connection builds, which may or may not end up with clothes coming off outside the office. Now, I want to touch on this topic because a lot of guys, especially in this economy, may not be in a position to make the kind of money where, and this is for you classic relationship guys who believe in the traditional roles our grandparents and great-grandparents had, where granddad would go out to work, he made the money, grandma held down the house front, make sure the kids were fed and clothes were ironed, washed, and keeping the house up. She didn't go outside the house except to go shopping, to go, go to church maybe. And it was okay because back then, inflation wasn't what it is now. And money went a lot further back then as a result. So, granddad could go out, make all the money while she held that other part down. It was cool. It was also unofficially that setup, that way of living at that time was also unofficially a mate guarding strategy. And what I mean by mate guarding is if you got an attractive wife, in this case, attractive girlfriend, attractive fiance, and she's being sustained by you. Everything she needs, she has. All the bills are paid. Her not having to go out to the office or having to go out to another job meant that there wouldn't be other men trying to get at her. They simply wouldn't have access to her. And so a lot of times you would see people from that era having marriages lasting 30, 40, 50 years. Best case scenario, everybody was behaving themselves in this example. So fast forward to today. Inflation's through the roof. The economy is in the shitter. And so it a lot of times takes two incomes. Sometimes one person in that two-person household having two jobs instead of just one, just to make ends meet, just to pay for gas, just to pay for groceries, keep the bills paid. So when you've got, in this case, the women, I'll start with that. In this case, you have the women going into the workforce. Maybe they've been to college and got a degree in that field or what have you. And they're out in the workforce and they're interacting with men who fit into one of four different categories they're going to come in contact with while clocked in. Number one, they're coworkers. Now, when it comes to coworkers, a couple things happen. Number one, you've got the new guy effect. If your girl's been there for a while and there's a lot of other women who work there, if a new guy gets hired and he's anything close to handsome, the girls, due to their natural competitive streak, are going to try to win favor with this guy. They don't know him. They don't know anything about him. So the first step will be trying to discover what this guy's about. Is he cool? Does he have swagger? Is he a hard charger? Is he a go-getter? Is this guy the next big thing around there? Especially if it's a sales environment, especially if it's a kind of environment where there's quotas and the cream rises to the top based upon performance in that regard. But if it's a customer service style job, is he the kind of guy that will one day be the manager, who will one day get his own store as he climbs up the ladder because he's just determined to push forward? See, that kind of guy is the kind of guy women want to be around, because this is a guy who plows through life's difficulties and achieves and is constantly leveling up. Women in their hypergamy naturally wants to be attached to this guy, so they'll be close to him, talk to him, and after a while, this guy will become somebody that they look forward to seeing at the job. You're asking yourself, why is my girl, who normally just goes to work, whatever, now she's putting on her makeup? Now she's doing her hair. She's wearing perfume all of a sudden. The hell's going on with that? If you're not paying attention because life is kicking your ass and you're out trying to work, trying to pay the bills, you might not notice, but it's happening behind the scenes. Propinquity is a synonym for proximity. And proximity simply means being close to someone or something. Depending on what kind of job you have, depending on what kind of job she's got, we spend more time with our coworkers in some cases than our own families. You're spending 8, sometimes 10, 12 hours beside these people all day. You get to learn what's going on in their personal lives. You get to learn what their personalities are like. And if they're even remotely attractive, this attraction can build. And so what happens is this person is slowly but surely becoming more and more important to your girl. If he's got a girlfriend and she ain't treating him right, chances are he might come to work in a bad mood. They'll talk about it. And women, hey, especially if he's a good looking guy, she's going to give him the there. And that could branch off in a couple different ways. Situation where she likes the guy, it might branch off into a bunch of inappropriate texting. She might have a bunch of inside jokes with this guy. She might have phone calls from him allegedly about work at entirely unusual non-work-like hours. You say something about it, typical Western woman to say you're being insecure. What are you, jealous? That type goofy stuff. And so what happens later on is, if this continues, if the law of propinquity continues to expand and snowball downhill, what's going to happen ultimately is one of two things. Either A, one of those two is going to push too far and human resources can get involved. And if that's a problem, that's a real problem. But if human resources stays off the table, then your girl just might get a long, strong pick text to her. At that point, hotel keys are sure to follow. So I would say this: keep an eye on your girl if she's constantly bringing up some dude's name at work. If every 3, 4, 5 minutes, every couple days, she's talking about Darren from accounting, you need to pay attention to that, because women will always name drop before they drop you. They love the monkey branch, fellas. From the guy paying the bills, from the guy providing them with emotional stability, from the guy they're currently dating, engaged to, or even married to the new guy that's fresh, exciting, and has new relationship smell all over him, like a new car from a dealership. Be careful, fellas, and be watchful. Next up after that, though, you got to think about her supervisors, her boss. This could be her immediate supervisor. This could be the guy who owns the store. This could be the factory manager, the shop foreman, whatever the case may be. If she's into politics, they say she's like a legal clerk or something, a staffer. This guy could be a politician, the mayor. He could be the governor. He could be a senator or whatever. Because of what supervisors represent. Supervisors represent power. They represent advancement in the workplace. Her getting a raise or promotion. They represent status. Most managers wear a different uniform than their employees. On top of that, it also involves favorable treatment. After all, if you and the boss are cool, just cool, nothing funny. If you and the boss are cool, he might cuss somebody out for being late. And when you late, it's no big deal. And that's the most innocent version of that. But favorable treatment could be getting extra hours when other folks is begging for hours. Favorable treatment could be perks. You get to use the company credit card to get gas or something. The examples are endless. But my point is, if your girl is just googly-eyed over her supervisor, We hear a lot of the FE eminence talk about the power dynamic, but what they don't talk about is the fact that, hey, sometimes this thing morphs into something way bigger than the office space. Be careful, fellas, because if she sees him as a bigger fish than you, there's nothing stopping her from having hypergamy kick in and her checking out. After that, you got the guys who would qualify as either the vendors who service the business, if it's like a restaurant, the guys who bring the meat or the vegetables, or the delivery drivers, your guys that work for the post office, UPS, FedEx, or DHL, who bring by packages every day. Now, these are working guys. These are guys who get sweaty for a living. But hey, there's an aspect of that turns women on because, again, at the base, we're all primal. And a guy who's in decent shape from lifting boxes all day, if he's a handsome guy facially, he's working. He's obviously got a job. And she might be a high-powered executive type. She might be a chick that wears a pantsuit every day to work. But the thing is, chemical attraction is chemical attraction. You don't know when it's going to happen, and you don't know who it's going to be aimed at until you see him. If he's also friendly, and he's also a fixture around there, he's coming every day, dropping packages off, you might want to drop another package off. And she just might let him. Then, of course, there's customers. Depending on what kind of work that they do at her job, it could be a warehouse, like she works at Amazon. Not a lot of customer interaction there. But if she's a barista or like a waitress, or God help you, if she's a waitress at a bar or a nightclub, that's a lot of customer interaction. And if she's in good shape and your girl is bad, bro, you already know. There's customers who are going to be hitting on her all the time. And women, for the most part, can handle that up until there's a guy who walks in that she thinks is cute. Now, waitresses, baristas, saleswomen who sell cars or furniture or whatever the case may be, they're not immune to attraction, fellas. There's going to be some guy that walks in there who can more than afford what they sell there. He gonna be just as tall enough, looks right, nice teeth, who knows? But something inside her chemically is gonna say, damn, I know I got a man and all, but oh my God, look at that guy. And what happens is, if this guy becomes a regular and they get to chopping it up, she's gonna be very, very excited to go to work in the morning. Same thing, make sure her hair is just right, making sure her makeup is dialed in like prom night, making sure that she smells good, looks good, and has her best foot forward. And you're thinking she's just happy to go to work. You never did ask her why. So, like I just said, man, it's very, very important that you understand this and that you are mindful of the fact. Now, if you balling out of control and you got your whole household on lock, you make all the money and she's at home taking care of it, cool. You don't got to worry about this. But for you guys who do have women who work out there, wherever they work at, part-time or full-time, whether she's in school or just finished, please understand, propinquity isn't just workspace. I mentioned school a second ago. Yeah, if she's in college or if you're a high school guy watching this, hell yeah. If she's got guys in her English class and gym class or whatever case may be, and she's attracted to these guys, attraction can build over time. Matter of fact, real quick side note, as I'm ex-Navy, and I remember guys out to sea on deployment. We pull into port and they be banging the ugliest girls on the ship. Why? Number one, they was down bad. But number two, over time, you work side by side with this chick and she might not be the best looking female, but y'all get along. She's cool. She ain't stressing you out. So when you pull into port, now all of a sudden, she's way more attractive on the scale than she normally would be if you met her as a civilian at the food court at the mall. You would never get her number at the local grocery store back home where you was from. But out to sea for 6 months, you ain't had none in 5. Now opportunities opened up for that to happen. Had a whole lot of guys who had quote unquote work wives in different ports overseas. I ain't naming no names though, because I don't want to put nobody out there. But yeah, fellas, propinquity is a real thing. And you need to be mindful of that for you guys who are still in relationships and still looking for one. Be careful with it, because it can wreck you, given the opportunity. So, that said, fellas, That's my time. Like the video, comment down below, share and subscribe. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, we working. Till next time.